Welcome everyone. My name is Durga. I will be the session or organizer for this particular webinar on retail analytics, especially on how to optimize a holiday sale. This is a session agenda that I've planned. I'll start with an introduction about myself, about Simplilearn, about the course that this particular webinar is aligned to, and that'll just be for a couple of minutes or a little bit more than that, and then I'll go directly into the webinar. Start with some holiday statistics and talk about what is the need to apply analytics at all. We've been doing everything the traditional way, and maybe in the past few years we've started using analytics, we've started using big data. So what is the exact need for that, and how can we do that? What are the different tools available? What are the different techniques? What are the different algorithms or disciplines that we use in analytics? So we'll talk about that. And in the end, we'll talk about some common ways that you can use to effectively boost holiday sales. So we'll talk about all of them. And like Abid said, we'll have a Q&A session in the end for about 15 minutes. I hope to complete all of that by then. And in between, if you have any questions, you can definitely let me know through the questions window. If it can wait till the Q&A session, I'll probably discuss it later. Or if it's important, I'll try to discuss it right then and there. All right, this is how I look. My name's Durga, and I'm an analytics consultant. I have over 5 years of experience in analytics. I specialize in retail and healthcare. Had a master's in data science where I did my project on healthcare analytics, and the whole time I've been a consultant, I've been doing projects in both retail and healthcare areas, and I'm a part of Simplilearn training the particular course on business analytics. Used to be business analytics, and now it's upgraded. It's called data scientist certification training on R, SAS, and so I am a trainer for that course. And now let me start with the webinar. Okay, I have a question. To become a data scientist, do we need to have a PhD in data science? So having a PhD in data science definitely works. It's a great asset to have, but suppose you're already working in BI. If you have this course, it's really good for you. And learning analytics, you need to know the concepts of statistics, you need to know the concepts of programming and industry knowledge. So if you have all of these three, you can become a data scientist. Having a PhD is helpful, but not really a prerequisite. All right, hope I answered the question, and I have a couple of your suggestions saying that we'll focus on the planned session. I know this is how the session is planned. We have just a few minutes to tell you about the course, and now I'll jump right into the session. I think it was just a few minutes, right? All right, let's go ahead. Okay, this is why we are talking about analytics. We have in 2015, this is the total sales in retail. We had over $600 billion in retail industry alone, and the National Retail Federation, came out with a report saying that there's not going to be much increase from 2014 to 2015. But it was proved wrong. In 2015, there was actually a huge increase in retail sales. And the main reason we took this webinar on holiday sales is because holiday sales account for almost 30% of this annual sale. So I think in 2015, it was somewhere around 60 billion just during a couple of weeks. During Thanksgiving, the week between Thanksgiving and Christmas, just during that period, it accounted for almost 30% of the complete yearly sales. So that's why we took this particular webinar. Majority of them, I think, of course, occurs during Thanksgiving. And yes, this webinar is going to have statistics from the US holidays, not the Indian holidays. You can probably take parallels from it, but since I had statistics for the US holiday sales, we are going to use that. Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I think that concept is familiar for Indians as well. You have Amazon coming in with all these amazing offers during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And of course, it's a big deal here in the US. Most of the sales happen during those 2 days and right before Christmas, maybe a week before Christmas, people getting in Christmas gifts and all that, right? So majority of spending happens there. And some more statistics, online spending increased by 20% from 2014 to 2015. People still prefer the old way, going into the store and visually looking at their items, buying them. But there is an increase in the number of online shoppers as well. And this is what I mentioned when I said the NRF actually said there will be around 4.3% increase. But last year, they saw a 7.9% increase in the holiday shopping from the previous year. Some of the industry facts through BI. All right, so this is just past data. So from past data, this is actually from a MasterCard report. So the past data, we see that furniture sales increased in double digits, low discount items sold in small businesses, women's apparel, of course, increased in double digits. Men's apparels, the sales decline, and sales of electronic items decline. Probably because electronic items, there you have sales all around the year. Maybe that's one of the reasons why there was a decline in sales. So analytics will help you in finding what is the best method for you to go forward. Do you have to price down items? What percentage of discount will work well? Maybe even with a 10 or 15% discount, I might sell out my item. Not necessary that I need to have 30 or 40% discount, right? It can help you in that. It can help you in pricing. It can help you in deciding which marketing strategy works best. So do I need to have, if I just send messages and mails or updates on the mobile, will that work for me? Or do I need to have an ad? Do I need to have an ad campaign or a marketing campaign? It can help you in that area. Analytics can help you there. It can also help you in finding which is the top product. Using social media, you can find out which product is the top discussed product. We'll see them in the coming slides. So analytics can help you in all of these ways to figure out what is the best decision that you can take to move forward. Right? And I have a raised hand from someone. So if you have a question, please send me on the question and answer window. I'll be able to help you with that. All right. The reasons why retail industry accounts for 1 in 4 jobs in the US, and what most people don't realize is that if you have a sale, it affects the retail industry very much because they have to announce the sale, they have to decide on a marketing campaign, like I said, maybe have promotional events or set up billboards or create ads, especially for this particular holiday sales. I think one example is if we have Akshaya Tritiya coming up in India, you'll have a week before that, you'll have a whole one-page ads coming in on newspapers, ads on TV saying that you have a specific offer on this particular day. Right? I think gold sales happens mostly during that time because people still think that if you just buy something on that particular auspicious day, the whole year is going to be better. Right? That's still a strong belief for most of the people. So you need to have so much of marketing campaigns. You need to update your point of sales data if you're talking about a retail industry. So every billing, once you do the billing, it has to automatically say that it has 20% off, or it's a buy one get one offer, and you have to mark all of these items. You need manpower to mark down all of these items and say that this has a 15% off, this has a 20% off, this whole area it's buy one get one. Right? You need retail industry is affected quite a lot. Months of preparations goes into that. That's the reason we try to make it better with analytics. So this is a main slide. How can we do that? So how we talk about retail analytics, what are the things that we can do? One thing is we can predict demand using a variety of internal and external factors. The internal factors I think I've mentioned here. You can arrange historical data. That's going to be for your store. Suppose for my store, I have the data for past 5 years or 4 years. Most stores all around the world have started storing data. So you have all of this data in your warehouse or in your databases, and you want to know how to best make use of it, right? So you have all of this data. Let's summarize this data now. Take out just the data, take a subset of the data uh, during the holiday sales, because it's not going to be the same as your normal everyday sale, right? So take out a subset of this data, arrange them by date. Why would date help? It will help you to know if, let's say, the same Akshaya Tritiya, is it going to happen right on that day, or is it going to is the sales going to happen a day before, a day after? You'll see a graph coming up. Let me see if I can go there. Okay, this is one of the graphs from 2013. So you will see that it was not just during the Thanksgiving week, not just during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday, or a couple of days before Christmas. The whole period right from Thanksgiving till Christmas week, there was a huge spurge in sales. So when you arrange your historic data by the date and by weeks, perhaps how many weeks, you will be able to analyze when the actual shopping starts, right? And it will differ every year, and we found that for the past year it was actually a week before Thanksgiving. People started shopping early, and sometimes people might start shopping late. So these things you can predict when you're using this data by, so you can arrange this historical data by date, by promotion type. Do you have a store-wide sale, or do you have all sales? Do you have just online sales? So it will help you in finding which sales works best, right? It will help you in finding which sales work best. What marketing strategy I used, and different categories, because different categories will perform differently. We saw just recently that electronics, the sales went down. Fashion, men's apparel, sales went down, and women's apparel sales went up, and furniture's sales went up. So it's a good idea to divide them by category as well. I'm not sure how many, what background all of you are from. Supposing you're an analytics consultant, or you have some data and you have to make some predictions on how to boost a holiday sales. This is how you will start with, right? You will start with arranging them by date and by category. Analyze each of them by category. Every category has a different way of different pattern, right? Every category might have a different, and what strategy works well. So you can arrange historical data. This will be one of your internal factors. What happens, or what data you have inside the company. External factors, one of the example is competitor data. If you can collect your competitors' data, if it's available, if you can find out which marketing strategies they used, what was the pricing strategy they used, what was their promotional activity. Maybe they had some promo events, maybe they had mascots coming in, and in the malls they had mascots coming in and performing. So you can collect all that data. It is a part of your external factor. Internal factor is something that you'll always have, and one of the best traits of a good analyst is when he or she can think about external factors and find out which will work best. Think out of whatever data you have and see if you can collect more data from other surveys or other competitor data, other openly available sources. Of course, social media trends as well. I think last year IBM released an app called Trend, which analyzed social media data, and it came up with the top 10 items in each and every category. For example, if I'm talking about electronics, it said maybe this a Samsung 55-inch TV is what everyone wants. People were talking about it, people were researching about it. So that was the top category. Or maybe Fitbit devices, electronic devices. You have all of this social media data available: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Analyze all of these tweets, analyze all of this social media data, and find out which item has the highest demand. So it will also help you in predicting whatever demand you have, accurately predicting the demand. So find out social media trends for this particular time, because every other internal data you have is going to be for, let's say, the past year, because we're talking about holiday sales, right? It's going to be for, if I want to do it for 2016, it's going to be 2015 and 2014 and years before that. The trend might have changed. So one of the nicer ways is to go through social media trends, find it out, have customer surveys if possible, and various other external factors as well. Just for an example, okay, one not interesting factor could be recession or inflation. So that is an external factor which will affect how much sales you're going to have. Something more interesting is when you talk about, let's say, winter. Last year in the US, the winter wasn't all that harsh, except for a couple of states. Except for a couple of states, the other states did not have a harsh winter. So that might affect sales of winter clothing. So that's something you can use to predict if that is a variable that you can use in your model. Suppose you're building a linear regression model. That is a variable you can use, a 0 or a 1, or maybe it was a low winter, a harsh winter, maybe have stages based on the temperature, right? Based on the temperature, divide them into categories, and for the past years, find out how much the sale was in winter, if there was a harsh winter, if there was not a harsh winter, right? So add more details into the model that will help you in predicting the demand accurately. So these are different factors that you can use. Okay, I have a question. Can we see a graph of each point as it is referred to? Okay, if I have some graphs, I'll definitely look at them. I think only for the graphs that I've showed, that is all. That is the source I have. The others, I'm talking it from my experience. If I find something, I'll definitely look at them. All right. So let me go on to the next slide. Just to give you an example of how much data we are talking about, I have another question. Okay, so before I move on to the slide, let me answer this question. Is the date relevant in all the cases, as festival dates keep on changing every year? How to capture this fact? So we are talking about just holiday sales, right? If I'm talking about in the US, the date will not change. I think you're talking about India, where Akshaya Tritiya might change every year, Diwali dates might change every year. So when I talk about Diwali, I'm going to take the Diwali date for that year. Let's say mark it a 1 or 0, mark it a particular number. Take the week before Diwali, the week after Diwali, and introduce another variable. It's a good question. So I'll introduce another dummy variable which will tell me which is the actual date of holiday. If it was 1 week before the holiday, if it was 2 weeks before the holiday, 1 week after the holiday. If it's the case of US, it's going to be simple. But in India, I think one of the examples could be, you could just have a variable saying if it's weekday or weekend. All right, that's possible. It's difficult to explain it here. In my whole data, suppose, let me go to Paint. All right. So here, this will be my point of sales data, right? I'll have a bill date. I'll have the cashier details, maybe who was the person who was doing the actual billing, what was the item code. I'll have what was the item description. Is there any department for this? You know, does it belong to electronics? Does it belong to apparel? Does it belong to furniture? I could have a variable having attributes of this item. If I'm talking about jewelry, I could probably have gold or silver or platinum, and then have what kind of attributes, and was there a particular discount. And this was some data that I'll have from my point of sales, right? My billing data will have all of these. Some of the data that I can add is, what is a week, or was it a weekday or a weekend? Was it during Monday to Friday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to Thursday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I could add one variable which has 0 or 1 to specify if it's weekday or weekend. In the temperature case, I said you could add different categories and make it accordingly. Or I could add another variable saying time period, and if it's on the date, you will have past data, right? If it's on the date, have this variable as 1. Otherwise, have it 0 or 0, -1, -2, and 0, +1, +2. So these are different variables that you can add to your existing data to help you in accurate prediction. I have a couple of more questions. how can I have a basic overview about the retail businesses before taking the course from Simplilearn? Okay, there are lots of online sources that you can go and read. One thing that you can start off with is there are multiple companies that specialize in retail analytics. There's Retail Next, you have SAS, you have SPSS, you have IBM, you have HP Analytics coming up with retail analytics solution. So one thing I would suggest is do a search, read their case studies. You have McKinsey case studies as well. Read their case studies so you'll get a basic understanding of what is being done in this particular field. What is the current state? What is already being done? What are the different analysis that are being done? You will have general ways, you'll have predictions, market basket analysis, customer segmentation, and all that. So find out what are the basic analytics that are being done, and then probably go on to Kaggle, find out a couple of sources, find out some data, try to see if you can use one of these online tools, and you can do some predictions as well. So you can try that out. I have another question coming in. Okay, how do we decide on variables to predict data? That's a really good question. How do we know that number of variables taken are enough for predicting data? Okay, this we're talking about predicting in future, right? Predicting just one variable, maybe the sales, maybe the total sales or the total quantity or something. We are going to predict one variable. So you can either use a time series analysis or you can use something called the regression analysis. I'm not sure if all of you know this. I'll keep this short and so that we can move on to the next couple of slides as well. So when you use a regression analysis, you will have all of these variables that I talked about. If you're using a time series analysis, you won't have any variables. All right. If you're using time series, you will just look at that quantity variable and find out what is the trend, if there is a seasonal effect, and predict accordingly. Now we are talking about regression when we talk about different variables that affect one dependent variable. So in linear regression, when you start building a model, the model will throw you a lot of output parameters. From those parameters, you can find out which variable actually makes an effect. All right. So let me go back to that particular slide. Yeah. So if I make a linear regression of this model, my output parameters will tell me that maybe the department made a significant effect on the quantity, maybe the discount, maybe the time period. There was no effect of weekday or weekend. My output parameter will have something called the level of significance, which will tell me which variable is good, which variable is not. So you try to bring in more variables, you run the algorithm on a sample set of data. If you have huge amounts of data, get a sample, get a random sample or get a couple of random samples just to make sure you reduce the errors that is possible. Get a couple of random samples, run your algorithm, let's say a linear model, run a linear model algorithm that predicts the sales, find out which are the significant attributes, and then you will have the error values as well. You will have residuals as well. Let me see if there is I think inside the, okay, let me not go into that. It's going to be more detailed. You will have something called the residuals, right? Whatever you have predicted, whatever was actual. You have residuals, actual minus predicted. This will also be thrown out by R or SAS or any tool that you make. So it will give out your residuals. You analyze the residuals to check if it's random, if it follows a normal distribution. If it does not follow a random distribution, you will know that there is something else remaining. There is something else that is making an effect on this variable. You find out what variable it is and build another model again. If it's random and you have a good model, you have a good accuracy, then your model is good. And it's better to use a couple of samples or use 2-3 samples. Sometimes we use a cross validation to make sure that you're not making an error. Suppose I have 10,000 entries. I'm talking in a smaller scale. Suppose I just have 10,000 entries. I take a sample of 100. And this sample of 100 might not be closely similar to my population. In that case, I will have to go back, take one more sample just to make sure I don't have a lot of error. These are some ways you can find out which variable is actually important, which variable is not, if this model is enough, if these variables are enough or not. Okay, couple of more questions. What are you going to use for a platform for data analysis, visualization, and prediction? Right now in this webinar, we won't have data. We won't have data and visualization. We won't be working on that data. We'll just cover the concepts. So right now, I won't use any platform. But the platforms you could use for visualization, any BI tool. You have lots of BI tools. You have most common being Tableau, you have ClickView, you have Power BI, you have Excel in the simplest way. Use them for visualizations. And for prediction, during the course, if you ask me, we'll use R and SAS. These are the tools that we'll use for prediction. Of course, you have other tools available in the market as well. Most of the times, what happens is you have, for bigger companies, you either have an analytics team or you outsource it to an analytics company who will have their own version of visualizations and predictions. So yes, R is definitely so good. It's one of the best languages that I've worked with. I started off as a programmer, so it's one of the best languages, very easy to understand, and lots of flexibility. All right, I hope I answered that question. We had a few questions. Let me go through the slides so that we don't lag behind on time, and I'll come back to the questions at the end of the seminar, 10 to 15 minutes. Just an example of how much data we might be talking about in retail. Walmart alone has almost 245 million customers per day across their almost 12,000 stores, 2.5 petabytes of data per hour, 36 million of sales per day, and more than 3 lakh mentions on social media per week. This is the amount of data that we talk in retail analytics. And if this is going to be for every day, you can think how much data they'll have, or how much rush they'll have, how many customers they'll have on, let's say, Christmas or Thanksgiving. And for a store like Walmart, if you have to predict, or if you have to find out, if you cannot automate all of these pricing decisions, all of these discounts decisions, it's going to be very, very difficult, right? They are one of the pioneers. I think that's why they're a huge name in the market, and they're opening stores worldwide. They've been doing analytics since somewhere around 1970s. They started off small, but they have a huge analytics team, and most of their work and pricing decisions, it's all automated. It really helps you in finding, like I said, what discount should I give, what is the best period, and all that. And when you automate it, it becomes easier. And I think that's it about the concepts. I'll talk about a few common methods that are done in practice, which might help you in boosting sales during holidays. One is changing shipping policies. Very common. I think most of us will agree. Just a couple of days back, I was looking for a book on Barnes & Noble, and I checked it on Amazon as well. Barnes & Noble was offering it at $15, I guess. Amazon was also offering at the same price, but Barnes & Noble had a $4 shipping. I'm not going to buy on Barnes & Noble. I'm going to go to Amazon, right? Shipping actually makes a major decision in many cases. So you can either have free shipping during the holidays, or have a case that you can free shipping for deliveries over $25. So maybe I'll buy another book just so that I don't pay for. All right, that is also a better way to do. Or shipping policies, they are actually a deciding factor on which option are you. Good delivery dates for Christmas. I want to make sure that the gifts arrive on Christmas Eve, right, on a day before, not after. So if you can have accurate shipping dates, if you can tell them that if you book by today and choose 1-day shipping or 2-day shipping, I think Amazon, most of us used Amazon, you would know how this works. So that is one of the reasons why Amazon is the biggest retailer on e-commerce. So have accurate shipping, accurate dates, have better shipping policies. You can display related items that we can find using something called association. I think so far we've been talking about regression analysis. We also have association, which helps in retailers telling which items you might be buying, right? Example, I go to Amazon, I buy a book on predictive analytics. It might suggest me something on R or using SAS or web analytics or marketing analytics, a book on marketing analytics. So displaying related items using association. And especially in holiday sales where people tend to buy more, there are a lot of impulse buyers, right? They still feel that, all right, it's Christmas or it's gifting time, we can still buy more. It's not going to be the usual sales where people think a lot. There will be quite a number of impulse buyers. So when you display related items at checkout and have a lesser or have a discount on them, if you bundle them up, say that if you buy both of these, you'll have less shipping, or if you buy both of these, you're going to have 15% discount on it. That works quite well. How do you do that? Gather all of your past data, find out what happens in each of the bills. All right. So let's say one person buys toys, he buys Xbox, he buys everything. So based on this, based on different customers, find out which group of items are bought commonly. There'll be a bunch of items, right? Suppose, let me talk in movies. On Netflix, maybe I watch a lot of comic book, right? There'll be another guy who's watching comic book movies. And suppose I watch a new movie that has come up and I give it a good rating. Then Netflix will have an algorithm that will suggest this new movie to user 2, right? Based on if user 1 and user 2 are similar, if user 1 listens to something or buys something, you can recommend that to user 2. It could be based on the users or similarities in items. This kind of analysis is possible. Of course, R helps you in doing a lot. R has a very good way of doing association as well. You can, from your transaction data, you can find out which objects sell together, maybe box them up and give a discount or suggest some items. Another point is early offers for loyalty card customers. That helps in retaining customers and making sure they do not go over to your competitor during this period of time. Examine historical trends. I think this I have already discussed to find out what is the best period of sales or best discount. So if I can find out that I don't need a 50% discount, even at a level of 20%, my item is going to sell out. You can find out, you can make predictions, right? Once you've built that model, you will know how valuable your discount is. If your discount is not much significant, the variable is not much significant, you can decide that I could probably go with a lesser amount of discount and still sell out my item. So I can do that. You can mitigate risk, you can predict rush hour and employ associates to reduce wait time and improve customer satisfaction. When I talked about when I went to paint, I said these are different items, right? I can also have one more variable saying what time of day it is. Maybe it's sometime between 10 and 12 in the morning or later than 4 in the evening, because maybe a lot of people shop in the evenings. So find out which is the rush hour, which hour has the maximum sales, and have more open counters in that time. Because any customer, if let's say I go to a store, I do not want to wait in a long. That's one of the biggest challenges in retail industry. You have to minimize the queue. If I have a huge wait time, let's say I have a huge wait time and 15% discount here. In another store, I'll probably have a lesser wait time and 10% discount. People are prone to go to the other way because right now the trend is that people are okay with spending money and they want better experience. And if you have a huge wait time, it's going to affect on social media as well. People are going to post statuses saying that there's a huge wait line here, or give you a bad review, and might affect your sales. You can predict rush hour, employ associates so that you reduce wait time. A couple of graphs, I think this I've already shown, and this is to show that there is a change in employment as well. In retail, during holidays, not necessary that trend or the crowd is the same as non-holidays. It's found that there is a huge change in employment in hobby, toy and game stores. A lot of people come in and buy gifts, because I think when we talk about gift giving, a lot of things happens for children, right? Children and women's apparel. So we found that hobby, toy and game stores and clothing accessories, they had most rush coming in, most consumers coming in, rather than a sporting goods or a gift store or a furnishing. So you can figure out if you have, let's say, if you have a chain of, and you have an electronics department, you have a toy department, you have hobby departments, you have clothing apparel departments, you can find out which department is going to be, which is going to have the most rush and anticipate it, and make sure you have them. One infamous case, I think most of us will agree, Flipkart's Big Billion Sale. They did so much of promotions. They did so much of, they placed strategic ads. People were talking about it very well, but they did not anticipate this rush during that period of time. Started off sometime at 8 in the morning, and by 9, most of the items were sold out of stock. The server went down. Lot of problems. Going to give a bad name for the for the company. The owners actually came out and apologized, if I remember it right. They came out with a public apology letter and all that. You can probably recover, but a better idea would have been to accurately anticipate. Now that we have all of these tools available, lots of options available, you can find out what happened in Amazon or on eBay. Invest on an analytics team, on a good analytics team, and accurately predict if it will work for you. What will be the number of people logging in at the same time? I think the next slide, it actually talks about that. Yeah. In e-commerce, what can you do? Increase or optimize the speed of site, anticipate how many people will come in and look at your website. Find out who is the everyday shopper, who is the holiday shopper. Maybe I'm a person who shops every day. How will I find this? Based on loyalty card information. Every time I go make a purchase online, or if I go to a store, Lifestyle, Shoppers Stop, any of those, I go to a store, I have a loyalty card from. So they have my details. They have how much I spend every year, or every week, every month. Maybe I spend once every month or twice every month in their store. There's another customer who just spends once in a couple of months, or once in maybe 6 months. Find out who's a holiday shopper, who's an everyday shopper. You can target these people accordingly. That's the reason we do this segmentation. Once you find these segments, instead of saying this is the sale, you can probably, within your loyalty customers, you can tell them that we have an exclusive sale for you. Have different sales for different groups of people. So that will help you out. One more data that we have found is most research on products are done on mobile. Before, let's say I buy a phone for my father, I'm going to find out what are the best phones. Go on GSM Arena, check out YouTube reviews, and find out which phone works best for my budget. So people generally do a lot of research on mobile. So it's good if you have a mobile site, not just a website that you can view on a mobile, but if you can have a mobile site, then people can easily view a product and they can easily buy. And I think now you have this option that right from Facebook or right from Google, right from social media sites, you can click, there'll be a link to buy it from your own website. So let's say I search on Google for Nexus phone, there'll be results in my shopping options, and each result will come with a buy option, redirect me directly to their website where I can immediately make the whole experience hassle-free. Have pop-up discounts. So every time I, let's say, close the site, it could probably give me a pop-up saying that you have 10% off. Just give this code, Thanksgiving 10, and you'll have a 10%. I think even on Simplilearn you'll find this. If you go to the data scientist with certification page, it'll show you that for May you have 50% off. You can go click on May 30, or you can give a code called May 20. Most of the websites do it. So you can have pop-out discounts to make sure they buy it on your site. Have a thank you page after the whole process is over. Once you've got the customer, you can have a thank you page and sharing option that'll say, let's say, you refer this, put this up on Facebook, and if someone uses this referral code, you get 100 points as bonus, or you get a gift certificate. So have media sharing options and a thank you page, and display relevant items to the shopper, personalize it. Of course, you can have algorithms to find out what is the person's trend. Find out for each shopper what is their trend, what is the items that they were looking at recently, what is the items they are interested in, what are the items they've searched on social media or on Twitter, and accordingly display items. One of the ways that is more effective during holiday is, instead of showing multiple different options, have few options. Let's say on Amazon, if I go and search for the same and book on predictive analytics, okay, if I go and search for that, I'll get almost 10 to 15 results on a single page. Instead of that, have just 4 or 5 results show the top rated item or top selling item, most popular item, and make it easier for me to buy. Rather than giving me more choices and confusing me, reduce the number of choices, make it easier for the consumer to buy. So these are different ways in which you can boost. These are ways that are time tested and tried and definitely works. I think I'm quite on time. To conclude, we've talked about retail analytics. Uses data, of course, and data into insight, data into decisions. That's the whole point of analytics. Helps you in backing up your data with, backing up your decisions with data. If you say you want a 20% discount, you can prove it with data. You can prove that this is what happened in the past, and so it will be better for our company. This decision will actually be better. So you can prove it with data. You can find out what is the best marketing strategy, what is the pricing strategy. You can also find out smarter ways of marketing. Through analytics, you can find out which part of your website is targeted, where there are lots of clicks, right? And strategically place your ads or place products on your website. And mainly, if we talk about retail analytics, I think one of the primary concerns is to accurately forecast the demand. So that you can do very well with the help of analytics. Predict it accurately rather than the time series methods where you just find out what is the average and you say this is the trend. It has been increasing and now it's just going to increase a little bit more. It just increased 5% every year. So this year it's going to increase by 5%. Instead of doing that, you can add in various factors, and based on these factors, I can accurately predict a demand for a given value of attributes. Find out what are the top products using past sales and social media trends. And some of the key points are shipping, quick delivery, and personalized shopping. That ends this seminar on retail analytics. I'm open for Q&A. Whatever questions you have, you can let me know. Okay. Please mention the topics on probability and statistics that are needed before jumping into retail analytics. Okay. So you will need to know basic statistics. You will need to know distributions, different probability distributions. You need to know the basics of hypothesis testing, populations, samples, what are the different tests that are available, what are the different tests for different types of variables that you might have. So I think a basic knowledge of that would be enough if you want to jump into retail analytics or any analytics. Basic statistics, a little bit of programming or the knowledge of the tool, and based on that, you can do any kind of analytics. And it always helps to have industry, maybe read a lot of case studies, find out what's happening. On Kaggle, you'll have all of these open source data sets. Download those data sets, see how it works. Queuing theory, is it covered in training? No. Queuing theory is not covered in training. We won't be talking about that. We are concentrating mainly on descriptive and predictive analytics. You'll see all of these algorithms that I talked about and how you can use these algorithms to effectively predict quantity or price. I have another question. Please describe again about pricing strategy. So let me give you a short example. Let me go back to that slide if I can. Okay. So how we'll usually do is, you have all of these data. Of course, this is just an example. Your actual billing data will have, let's say, 30 or 40 attributes. So based on that attributes, you build a model which says you will have a linear regression model in this example. So you'll have quantity is a coefficient plus, let's say, 0.53 times department plus let's say 1.25 times price, sorry about that, plus 0.35 times discount and so on. Not an actual number, just an example of how your linear regression output will look like. So based on this, I can decide if discount is actually worth. Is discount going to be a main factor in deciding the sales? Is price going to be a main factor? So if I increase or decrease the price, what happens? If I increase it tenfold, what happens? If I decrease it by 10%, what happens? So I can decide on all of this. I can find out which variables are important, and based on that, I can make my decisions. Sales and marketing in retail, how will it help you in upgrading your profile? Okay, so well, how to put this? Analytics is what's happening today. All right. Most Indian companies have started doing it as well. You have, I think Shoppers Stop is doing it, Tata Group is doing it, Amazon, Walmart, Target, and everything here, they're all doing it. And I'm, based on the current trend, data science has been a trending topic for the past, let's say, 4 or 5 years. Based on the current trend, it's going to increase and not go to a slump. Data science, working on big data, and the IoT or Internet of Things, these things are going to be there at least for 10 years or 15 years. So what I would say is it's a good asset to have, and if analytics is still not being done in your particular firm, it's going to come soon, because when everyone's doing it, of course, just to at least beat your competitors or be on par with your competitors, you will need to have an analytics team, and at that point it will really help you. If you do not have an analytics team, you can probably start leading one, or you could probably say that this is what you can do if you have these capabilities. You can better the existing processes. If you're in that kind of a position, you can say that when you have data, you can say that this is what I've done. You can improve these processes, and it can help you out in that regard. Okay, R is memory bound in single threaded, so how can we handle large scale data through R program effect? Really good question. I had a lot of issues in that. You can increase the memory bound a little bit. If you're using on your desktop, you can increase it a bit. But when we talk about large scale data or big data, you will have to integrate R with some kind of a tool to do this analysis. We are talking still about traditional data, holiday sales, where we can still use R and its programs. I've worked with a few thousands and about 1 million records, but I had to aggregate it about 12 million, I guess. I had to aggregate it on Tableau, and then the aggregated data, I worked it with R. So the whole 12 million records, you cannot use it in R because it's going to import the data set into R and work, right? It cannot work on disk in memory. So it's going to import all of that, and you will have out of bounds error. But yes, you can integrate R with Tableau or with ClickView, because these tools already have BI capabilities. Integrate with them, and you can do all these algorithms through the other software. So that is something that's possible. I think even Hadoop frameworks have integration capabilities with R. So I think that's how we can go. It's still you will have problems if you're using R standalone on huge data sets. So I hope I answered that question. How much helpful is it to learn Google BigQuery for handling big data? I'm not a big data expert. I work with smaller amounts of data, so I might not be the right person to answer this. But yeah, the main thing is it's always going to be a similar framework. Okay, whatever framework you use for big data, it's going to be similar. The basic concepts are going to be the same. So if you learn one, it will be easier for you to learn another. Taking parallels from business analytics, if you learn the concepts, be it SAS, be it R, be it any other tool, you will be able to seamlessly work with that tool with just a few days or just a little bit of knowledge of the tool. So the concepts are going to be the same. What you learn is which framework exactly you learn. I don't think it will make much of a difference even if you want to shift into new technologies. Hadoop ecosystem, no. This data scientist course does not talk about big data. We will talk about the basic concepts. I think these will be the concepts that you will still work even if you're using big data, but just the method of execution will vary. You will probably use that, have a Hadoop ecosystem and use Spark and use a different querying language, but the concepts will be the same, right? You will still use these algorithms, you will still use association techniques, you will still use regression analysis. But the way you execute it, the tools that you use to execute these will be different. You will probably use different nodes, parallel computing and all that. But this course covers all the basics, and we will have smaller amounts of data. We'll work with smaller amounts of data on R and in SAS. So no, Hadoop ecosystem is not a requisite. I think there is another course on Hadoop, but I'm not the right person to answer that. You can probably send us a message on help and support, and they'll take you to the big data trainer who will help you out. Thank you very much. Please give us your feedback, and it was nice knowing you all. I hope I answered the questions. I hope to see you in some of the future sessions if possible. So thank you everyone, and have a great day.